inside buildings with extreme temperatures. Father, as we move forward with the business you set forth, I pray for your clarity, your wisdom that only you can provide. If you always have a servant's heart, live each day. Things we humbly lay at your feet. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll convene our commissioners' public meeting. Ask for approval of the previous meeting.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Fair side? Aye. Any public comment on the items only at this time? Online?
None on the line.
If we're not able to continue.
Good morning. We did have a bid due for zoning hearing board solicitor services, but we received no bids for that.
Reports.
Presented for your ratification are invoices due through June 25th, 2025 to be paid on June 18th, 2025 in the amount of $1,610,755.96. It's 79.38% out of the general fund, 4.88% out of the ARPA grant, 5.05% out of other grants, 8% out of RMS, and 2.69% out of escrow.
We should accept the accounts payable.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Comments or questions? Fair side?
Aye.
Thank you. This time we recess the commission public meeting for the DEFRA hearing. Morning, Ann.
Good morning. I'm right here, or do you want me
Come
up
here,
there?
please.
Want to come?
Sure.
Well, good morning again. I'm Ann Pepperman. I represent the Lycoming County Authority, and I'm here on behalf of the authority, who is here on behalf of Fire Tree Place in connection with tax-free financing through the authority. Back in 2024, just a year ago, the Lycoming County Authority issued tax-exempt bonds on behalf of Fire Tree in the amount of $2,286,000 for a construction project to provide additional space for their childcare. They have come back to the authority and asked to increase the amount of the financing by $615,460. It would not be a new documentation. It would simply be amendments to the existing bond documents. And so we do need approval. DEFRA, I have Billy Dayton here as CEO. He can explain what it'll be used for. I'd also like to recognize John Burnett, the chairman of Fire Tree Place, who is here with us again today. So if you want to explain.
Morning, Billy.
Morning. So yes, we have started the phase one of our expansion project, adding the childcare wing that actually just started yesterday. Construction crews were on site starting. During the process, we ran into a couple of things that came up that weren't fully thought about at the beginning of the proposal with stormwater management and the stormwater construction. We ran into issues with that. So we were looking for the $615,000 to help assist paying the stormwater management design as well as the stormwater management construction, because we do have to put a underground water basin in on the property, as well as sprinkler systems in the building. They did end up costing more than what was originally projected. And that's the majority of what that money is going to be used for. When meeting with the bank had then discussed with us, making sure that we got approval for enough money in case we ran into any other potential issues that came up. So this would be it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? I believe the solicitor has the proposed resolution, which was prepared by bond counsel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Okay, at this time, we'll turn the meeting.
I just don't have any questions, but we've talked about this before, and we've talked about childcare and what a dire need, not just our community, but the world is for affordable childcare. And Fire Tree is one of the shining lights of what of places where kids can go, and it's safe, it's educational, it's everything that you would need it to be. So parents can work and be in, because we, as we see, it's just all, it's so intermittent. And with the workforce and with childcare and affordable childcare and quality childcare. And this expansion is so vital to, lots of times you see businesses, you see other things, oh, we're just going to expand because we can, or we're just going to expand because, like, the community needs this, our area needs this. And it is such a value. We talk a lot about how we need this, and now we have an opportunity to actually do something about it. So we thank you guys for what you do. And this is one of the places that locally, whether it's local money, state money, whatever, we have to figure out. And I know Fire Tree I know you have a good working relationship with Fire Tree, but this is something that we need to figure out how to get done, because we talk about how essential it is all the time, but now we get opportunities. We need to take advantage of them. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. We met yesterday with a few of the superintendents and school superintendents, and this is one of their major concerns, is the childcare, not having enough childcare in the area, which is a national problem, but it's a problem in our area too. Making sure that there's adequate child facilities out there to take care of our kids while people work, or their parents are working. And a lot of times nowadays, one parent has to stay home because of the childcare cost, or there's not enough sites. And so this is a great opportunity to help solve that problem. So thank you.
You might have said this. I know you said they started yesterday.
Yeah.
How long do they project? Or does the wastewater act, does that pause it?
No, the contractor is optimistic that it will be operational by February of 2026.
Okay.
So if he meets his deadlines, that is our targeted date. But it might be a little bit later.
But give or take, early 26.
Right, depending on what happens. So.
That's good.
Yeah, good news.
Thank you.
Well, this time we'll adjourn the meeting, reconvene the Commissioners' public meeting. Move on to information on lakes. Mike, thank you for being here.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mike, you're up. Okay.
Informational items. Elected official personnel actions in the district attorney's office. Phoebe Yates, deputy district attorney, pay grade 13, full-time. This at $85,000 per year with 75 hours per pay period, effective date June 8th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Gary, you're back. Gary, you there? Gary? Hello?
Amy's on the line from Peacock.
Okay, Jamie. Okay, thank you. Jamie, you're up.
All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today on the agenda, can you hear me?
You're good. No, you're still here.
You're here. Gary's back.
Okay. So today on the agenda, I'm asking for the commissioner's approval of a budget revision for your CDBG 2021 contract. The Lifelike Coming Exterior Walls project was bid out and came in quite a bit over budget. And the 2021 funds do have an expended term date coming up rather quickly. So we're recommending moving the $50,653.39 that was in 2021 for Lifelike Coming into the State Route 44 water main reconstruction project that is ongoing, because that project can spend those funds quickly and get those done. We can look at reallocating additional funds to Lifelike Coming in the future should they want to do that for their exterior wall project.
Okay. Thank you. Motion, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Do the motion.
Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Any questions or comments for Jamie? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Let's just do it at the end.
Okay.
We'll add it as 6.9. Okay. Do a motion to add. We'll do a project to add the resolution. Oh, okay. Before we approve, just have to go public comment. Thank you. Also, good personnel action. Okay, moving on to 6.2, Gary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
6.2 is vote to approve the notification forms for the NPDES PAG2 permit application to take force main. That's just simply the permits that we need to get in place here for the new force main we want to build.
Okay. Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions for Gary? Comments? All in favor, side? Aye.
All right, action item 6.3, vote to approve the annual operating report for DEP, which is the annual report that we're obligated to do operating a landfill every year for the Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, side? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Horace, good morning.
Good morning. So this item I have is in connection with our polling place accessibility project. As you know, we've been working on this for several years. We had a contract we awarded and completed actually last year that did accessibility improvements at about 30 facilities. And we have a second contract we awarded in January. They're about to get started on it for 34 more places. And this is the first change order to that contract. We have a couple facilities we got in there at the last minute because we had to change a few places. We added in Faith United Methodist Church, which is a new polling place, so we had to look at them. Some work at Penn Township, the Mount Zion Church, we're doing some work on their ramp. And finally, some different work on the doors at Saladaysburg United Methodist. So the total there is the $16,000 that would modify the contract.
Motion to accept.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
So last week for us, we had a concerned citizen here talking about polling places. And some of the locations weren't allowing signs.
Right.
And then we have some of these locations that we're improving, that we're spending taxpayers' money to improve those sites.
Right.
At no cost to them. So what does that do to, does that help the county at all to speak to the property owner about allowing those signs?
Well-
We're entering this partnership. We're there for 2 days a year.
Yeah.
Some of these sites, we're spending taxpayers' money to help improve their sites.
Right.
At no cost to them. And can you work with us to allow those signs to satisfy all taxpayers, especially those that are concerned with the elections?
Well, I want to be clear. I don't have a personal position on this one way or another.
Right.
Just to kind of explain where some of those facilities are coming from, though, some of them are concerned about their nonprofit status. And so the position they're coming from is that the ones that don't want to permit signage on the property don't want to create any even potential appearance that, what if candidates of one party put signs but not the other, and then somebody interprets that to mean they're taking the position. That's where how they're looking at this. Now, some facilities don't look at it that way. They decide, well, we're just going to allow everything, and as long as we allow everything, nobody can accuse us, of having taken any sides on the election. From the county's perspective, our primary concern is we have to have facilities where people can go to vote on election day, and they need to be accessible. And that's not easy, and so we absolutely, as you said, have to work with the facilities. And if some of them are taking that position, I mean, we have to respect their right as a property owner, that if someone wants to put a sign anywhere to advocate a candidate, a party, whatever, that it always has to be done with the permission of the property owner and if the municipality has any applicable ordinances. So I can't just go up to somebody's house and put a sign in their yard. So we do have some of these facilities that say they don't want signs on the property. They still permit, by and large, people to campaign, so someone can stand there on election day, but they're not allowed to put stuff in the ground. We've seen some places where people will work around that. They'll find an adjacent property and put signs down, or they'll put signs maybe along the road, but it always has to be with the permission of the property owner. It's why PennDOT will sometimes pull signs out of the right of way of roads because people have put stuff there without permission. Or why sometimes polling places that do permit signs will pull them up after the election because the candidates didn't do it. And that's another concern that some of these facilities have, is they get frustrated because people don't come around and pick up the stuff that they had, and then they have enough of it and say, well, we don't want to allow signs anymore because the candidates and the parties aren't picking up after themselves. So it's a constellation of concerns that they have.
So I get the aspect that, in the world of kind of beggars can't be choosers, in some places we only have one viable option to hold a polling center. But legally, this has to be precedented out, doesn't it? Can't we advise? I know some of them are churches or whatever the case may be that's afraid they're going to lose their tax exempt status. There has to be, what word am I looking for? Precedent that says you're okay to do this, isn't there? And can't we advise them, like, yes, this has come up in 1,000 other places around the country and you're okay?
Well, if there is any case law out there to support the position that this is not an endangerment of nonprofit status, I mean, I personally don't have a problem with us sharing a communication like that. However, at the end of the day, the facility could still end up saying, we see what you have to say, but we still want, we still don't want to permit this on the property. And, in that case, again, they're a property owner. They can decide what goes there or doesn't go there. And a lot of them, they don't have to be polling places. Municipal buildings and schools have to be polling places if the Board of Elections requests it. But these other facilities, churches, fire halls, you name it, they don't have to be a polling place if they don't want to. And for some of them, that could be a deal breaker. And, a candidate or a committee or a candidate or a campaigner for a candidate, they may have a First Amendment right to express viewpoints or put up signs, but it still has to be with the permission of someone who owns a piece of property.
And I will say, just to clarify, no one has said that they're allowing certain signs and disallowing others.
Yeah,
it's
never been alleged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's all or nothing.
It's been everything. Yeah.
So my next question, Forrest, and maybe the solicitor can chime in on this. What is the difference then? And I don't take a stance on either side, but what a person may ask, what's the difference if a candidate or a candidate's supporter stands there and asks for a person's vote? What's the difference between that and a sign out on the property?
Well,
they're both soliciting that vote.
Right. Again, I think some of that comes down to experiences that some of the facilities have had. The campaigners, they're probably not going to stay there after election day. They're not going to pitch a tent and hang out. The signs, in many cases, they're still there. And then the facility kind of gets, because I get a call here and there after almost every election saying, hey, there's still signs I heard. What do I do? And my response is, hey, you own the property. You can do whatever you want, which is exactly why PennDOT has a whole shed out behind its offices in Montoursville, where they've got hundreds of signs they have pulled off the roads over the years. And I think they keep them for a long time before they get rid of them. But they pull them and they store them. And the facilities then end up having to do the same thing. And that then plays into some of their frustrations. Now, my only dog in this fight as director of elections is I need to make sure we have polling places.
Yes.
And they need to be accessible and I need to keep them happy. And as you pointed out, Commissioner Messina, some of these areas, we don't have another good option.
No.
And, you know, if we tell them you've got to allow signs and then they just walk away, we don't have a polling place anymore.
I will say, to echo something that you said, because one of the arguments was it's violating my First Amendment right of freedom of speech. But it's not, because
It's not.
you just can't put a sign in anyone's yard.
No,
The property owner still has control over their property.
absolutely not. Yeah, you have the right of freedom of speech until you walk onto, you know, if you go onto someone's property and do something they're telling you you're not allowed to do, that's arguably trespassing. We have a public facing polling place list. It's been on our website 24/7, 365 before I've ever been director, but definitely the entire time I've been here. And part of that includes notes to voters about relevant details for each facility, which could be, you know, you park in this lot, use this door, because some have multiple ways in and out. But also, no political signs permitted on the property. Very clear in every one of those. So that way campaigners and candidates can look at that and know in advance where it's permitted and where it isn't. And that information has been publicly available for years.
Okay, thank you.
I was gonna say, the difference is I'm sorry, just thinking this through, and then again, having not done any research, but the concern of those nonprofits is those signs are an overt action of potentially engaging in political activities that they're not permitted to do. And so if somebody drives by and takes a picture of the church with political signs out there, they could argue that they are campaigning for a particular individual or group of individuals versus the person that's standing there. Because it is a polling place, it does become a limited public forum, which then the person standing there does have certain free speech rights where they can advocate for themselves or somebody could advocate for a particular candidate.
So you're saying
Case law
legally,
in support of that.
legally a person standing there has different rights than a sign.
I've seen a lot, or I should say, read a lot of complaints, shenanigans about political signage over the years that descends into some real kind of silly territory. And I could see where a photo of the type you're describing could be very much taken out of context, because they could find a facility where maybe it just so happened that the only signs in the ground were for candidates of one party. You know, the facility obviously didn't do it. They didn't care. Anybody could have put whatever they wanted, but they found a place where it was all one side. They take a picture and go, look, this church only advocates for X instead of Y. And, you know, there you go. Now you're having to explain it.
Now there'd be a challenge on their nonprofit activities and whether or not they still qualify for nonprofit status. So,
I get it.
And we do sincerely appreciate all the facilities. As you say, they're very hard to find these days, especially making sure they're ADA compliant.
And it's been really gratifying to see in the course of doing these accessibility improvements, how willing they all were to work with us and you know, allow these improvements to happen, because I was actually really concerned going into it. You know, if a lot of them were going to say, we don't want to be involved in a project like this, you know, we're happy with things the way they are. But they were all really, really happy for the most part to see some of this work get done, because, you know, yeah, a lot of them are township buildings, but you get a lot of churches, fire halls that have older populations coming in. And so it's benefiting them really. These are infrastructure improvements that benefit them all year round, not just on election day.
Okay, thank you, Forrest.
And anytime we can work the word shenanigans, it is a good day.
Well, I got another information item after this, so maybe
See, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to accept action item for 6.4.
I'll make the motion. Do we already do that?
We already did, yes. Oh, yeah,
We need to vote.
All fair side?
Aye.
And then the next item is a polling place agreement with Penn College of Technology. This is their standard. They have a use form that we have to sign off on for us to be able to use the space. And they've made some adjustments for us on that that reflect the amounts we typically pay to polling places. This is something that because of the new directive on contracts, we're putting it in front of you. It wouldn't have been in the past, but now it's here, so we have to approve that to use them. And they've been a great partner to us as well, I should say. They were one of the first changes we made when we were looking at accessible polling places, because they've been very proactive about it themselves over the years. In fact, when we went to them and said, hey, there's a couple little things here with the van accessible space, they said, forget it, we're going to do it because, you're telling us exactly, what we need to work on, and we'll do it because we want our facilities to be as up to speed as possible. And so they've been a fantastic partner. And that part of town, that fourth ward, was always all of Penn College anyway. So they were happy to actually have a polling place on campus where a lot of their community is.
Where was the previous one?
That part of town, I think, used to vote at that was one where they used to vote at the YWCA. When we redistricted the city from 17 wards down to 13, we didn't need as many facilities. And the YWCA was one that we discontinued because they were getting into more work with clients who needed anonymity, people who were staying there. And we just thought it was best to not be part of the mix. But we ended up at Penn College then when the accessibility project started up.
Thank you.
Yep.
Motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you very much.
Leslie, 6.6 and 6.7.
Morning, Leslie.
Good morning, Commissioners. Morning, Mike. 6.6, seeking your approval to renew our Polycom renewal with Kaiser Consulting Group in the amount of $1,100. This is for 4 Polycom systems, one at the prison, 2 at PRC, and 1 in IT. And this is the 2025 approved budget item.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
6.7, seeking your approval to renew our AutoCAD software for, there's 2 departments for maintenance and a PCD for the next 3 years. Yeah, for the next 3 years in the amount of $5,965.86. And this is a 2025 approved budget item.
Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Questions? All fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 6.8, vote to approve the statement of work with Remedy Analytics in the amount of $25,000 for the PBM discount validation and dispensing fee audit. This is not a 2025 approved budgeted item, but funds are available.
Mike, you want to explain this a little bit?
Yeah, so this is gonna, Remedy Analytics will take a look at our prescription beneficiary from the past to make sure it was adhering with its contract. And if any discrepancies are noted, those will come back to the county as a ACH transfer. We had another one that Remedy did about 4 or 5 months ago, which netted back to the county probably about $300,000.
Great. And that's the reason why we're looking at this one too.
Yep, this is just to make sure that everything is in line with what was agreed upon. I have a good feeling that we probably see the same return as we have on the others. Just things slip through the cracks on the PBM side.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept.
The motion.
I'll second. All fair side? Aye. Aye. And I'd like to end the agenda and ask for another action item to be placed on 6.9, which would be the resolution of the Board of Commissioners number 2025-13, and also amend the agenda to add the personnel actions presented by the director. of HR. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Didn't just make it, you're asking for one?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's go to 6.9 first. That would be the resolution. So you can press it.
Resolution of the Board of Commissioners number 2025-13. Approving in accordance with section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended, a plan of finance by the Lycoming County Authority for the undertaking of a project for the benefit of Fire Tree Place. Whereas the Lycoming County Authority, the authority was duly incorporated by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lycoming, Pennsylvania, under the provisions of the Municipality Authorities Acts as amended by the Act, and whereas the request of Fire Tree Place, the borrower, the authority issued its capital improvement note series of 2024 Fire Tree Place project, the note in the original principal amount of $286,000. And whereas the authority loaned the proceeds of the note to the borrower to finance a project consisting of the construction, renovation, equipping, and furnishing of certain capital improvements of the borrower, including but not limited to various improvements to the borrower's primary building and contiguous facilities, funding a debt service reserve fund, funding capitalized interest, and the payment of certain costs of issuance with respect to the note. And whereas the borrowers expects to amend the note documents to borrow additional funds in the amount of $615,460 for the project, the terms of which will constitute a reissuance of the note for federal tax purposes. And whereas in accordance with section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, a public hearing was held by the Board of Commissioners of Lycoming County on Thursday, June 19, 2025, at 33 West 3rd Street, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, 17701, in the Commissioner's Boardroom located on the 3rd floor, in connection with a plan of finance submitted by the borrower involved the amendments to the note. And whereas section 147F of the code requires that the applicable elected representative of the governmental unit on behalf of which the note has been issued and of each governmental unit having jurisdiction over the area in which any facility with respect to which financing is provided from the net proceeds of such note is located, approve the note after a public hearing in order for a private activity bond or note to be qualified bond or note under the code. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lycoming is both an applicable elected representative of the governmental unit on behalf of which the note has been issued, of the governmental unit having jurisdiction over the area in which the project is located. Now therefore, the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lycoming hereby resolves that Section 1, the plan of finance is hereby approved, provided that the note shall not constitute a debt or obligation of the County of Lycoming and does not obligate the taxing power of the County of Lycoming in any way. Section 2, it is desirable for the health, safety, and welfare of the people in the area to continue to be served by the facilities financed by the proceeds of the note. We have such facilities financed through the authority and for the authority and the borrower to undertake the plan of finance. Section 3, all prior resolutions or portions thereof which are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. This resolution shall take effect immediately, adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lycoming at the regular meeting of June 19th, 2025.
Anything you'd like to open it back up for public comment? If anyone has any? Is there any online? Regarding this topic.
Nothing online.
Okay, thank you. At this time, then I ask for a motion to accept the resolution.
I will make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. 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 Okay, thank you. Moving on to personnel actions.
Personnel actions, approve the following personnel actions, subject to the completion of a background check and all other pre-employment requirements. In adult probation, Gabriella Petorak, clerk 3, pay grade 4, full-time, $14.72 per hour, 75 hours per pay period, anticipated start date June 30th, 2025. Also in adult probation, Isaac Rolls, pretrial probation officer, union, full-time, $24.53 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date July 7, 2025. In resource management, Thomas Fuller, baler operator, pay grade 6, full-time at $18 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated transfer date June 22nd, 2025. In resource management, Carl Yinling, recycling truck driver, pay grade 6, full-time, $20.70 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date June 30th, 2025. Also in resource management, Dustin Springer, equipment operator, pay grade 6, full-time, $20.0124 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date June 30th, 2025. And the final one there in resource management, Walter Todd Portsline, operations supervisor, pay grade 8, full-time, $22.9712 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date June 30th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. The motion to accept the personnel action is presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. Do any gentlemen have any commissioner comments at this time?
The only thing I'll add to Commissioner Metzger's prayer this morning is welcome to Pennsylvania. We're going to go from 65 in rain to 97 in hot sun. So remember your pets, remember your elderly relatives, remember your elderly neighbors.
Thank you.
I know today is Juneteenth, which is now recently, I think it was either 2019 or 2021, became a federal holiday. We are obviously here today. It's not a holiday for Lycoming County as of now. I know there are other neighboring counties. I'm sure Clinton County is off today. I know our Joinder board voted for the first time that they are now celebrating Juneteenth. And it is certainly something that as a county that we should examine going forward. It's just not always that easy because there's a cost to all of it. People think, well, just give everyone a day off. We have places obviously in the county that never shut down, like prisons, like 911 centers. So it creates an extra cost and a complication with floating holidays and those people. I know there's also the naysayer side is we just had a day off for Memorial Day. We're just going to have a day off for the 4th of July, and another holiday in there is it's not strategically placed. But all that being said, the historical relevance of the day to such a large section of our society, and the federal holiday is determined that, or the federal government has determined it should be a holiday. So we should examine whether the magnitude of the event should be. Is there any way that we can really overshadow it by logistics? And again, it's more and more places are celebrating it and acknowledging it, and it's certainly something that Lycoming County should at least examine as we go forward.
Okay, thank you. So in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared the Emancipation Proclamation, and it took 2 years for it to get to Galveston, Texas, which was when I believe General Gordon Granger is the last general then that ordered the troops at that time to honor the Emancipation Proclamation. So it's actually 160 years ago today. So with that said, And just like that, we are all equal. And we are one people. We're in a nation that's very divided. And we have to realize that we're all the same in God's eyes. We should love each other, respect each other, listen to each other. We don't have to always agree. No one's always right. Take the time to listen. Listen to each other, listen to each other's point of views, and treat each other with respect and dignity. So that said, it's a good day to start that if you don't do it. But to try to do it each and every day. Just be kind to each other. And know that a lot of people are going through difficult times. Try to have empathy, to see things through their eyes. I often say that when somebody says, yeah, I know how you feel, they might not know how they feel. They might not know what it's like to lose a child or lose a parent or go through that type of stress or situation. So just listen and try to have empathy, what they're experiencing, what they're going through, and be a good listener. That said, we need public comment this time. Cooper. Morning.
Shenanigans. It's already been taken. You need a new one. Bonanza.
Thank you.
Okay. What I wanted to talk to you about today goes along with the equality, things of that nature. The first page that I had given you there is a copy of the statute that governs prisons when it comes to work release programs. I've highlighted 5. That would be the statute that dictates the anti-discrimination policy that we have to have locally with the prison. If you go to the next page, you'll see it's highlighted and referenced that same statute is listed there. If you go to the next page, under policy, and if you look at section D, notice that the word disability is missing from the policy. This is policy 18.7. Or 13.0, community work crew programs. So the word disability is missing from that section. If you go through a couple more pages, you'll get to policy 18.7, which is inmate work programs policy. Also referenced at the top is Title 37, same subsection of the previous policy. If you go down to the policy section, and they're not numbered, but it is number 5, you'll notice that the word disability is missing from the policy in the second policy. I've advocated for this for quite a while, going back a couple of years, to have this policy changed and right-sided. Because structurally, it's incorrect. And I'm asking that you take a look at that. The highlighted part that's highlighted by a computer there, I had to get these documents through a right-to-know request. These are simple policies that govern our prisons, and I had to get them by fighting lawyers. That's all I have.
Okay, we will make sure that get this to the prison board. And the next prison board meeting is in July. It's the second Friday, so we can have it addressed at that time.
I brought this up a couple years to start.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Any other public comment this time?
Just one, it just says, good morning, Lycoming County. Maybe the county could encourage all municipalities to look at passing an ordinance To levy fines against candidates not collecting their signs within the required time frame. Any fines could be split between the county, the municipality, along with the polling location receiving 60%. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I believe we've completed our agenda. So at this time, we'll be adjourned to Thursday, June 26th, right here in this meeting room. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you. Thanks.